everybody, welcome to today's episode. So today's going to be a little different. I'm going to keep this as short as possible. You know me, I can talk. So basically, I'm going to go into a little bit more description and detail regarding certain aspects of what I had discussed in the petition. I said when I did the petition that I was going to do this, so I'm late, but I'm doing it. So I will link all of anything I'm going to discuss. It'll be linked below, plus tons, probably 17 or 18 more links of stories and things like that with a little blurb. So if you get time, you get bored, whatever, I did all the research for you. Please go ahead and familiarize yourself with some of these stories and the situations in general with what our loved ones are having to go through. It's disgusting and it's bad. So this particular video, like I said, is just going to focus on a couple of things, mostly inmate safety. Safety and kind of the conditions that they're kept in. Take that back, I'll loop it all together. So as you know, as I have said dozens of times through dozens of videos now, inmate safety is one of my biggest things. The conditions that they're kept in is one of my biggest things. Treatment. I am very, very disgusted and repulsed. I'm in several different Facebook groups and it disgusts me and it repulses me hearing these stories. People reach out to me and, oh my gosh, my loved one, who's an inmate, my loved one was incarcerated and had this happen to them. They were denied medical treatment. They did not have this. They had this. All these different situations, majority of them focus on the healthcare portion of it. There are so many other things, but healthcare is the biggest complaint that I'm seeing. And I say that because, and I know I said I wasn't going to discuss Ralph specifically, but last year he had an upper respiratory infection. It started off as just a common cold. He put in a kite, hey, can I get some antibiotics just to kick this thing out? 3 weeks-ish later, he got another kite. Well, I'm not even going to get into the whole story. The entire process took approximately 5 to 5.5 months from the time that he initially put in his first kite to the time that he was actually given antibiotics and started feeling better. 5.5 months for something that turned from a simple common cold that could have potentially progressed worse than pneumonia. I actually think he had pneumonia, but it started healing by the time that he actually was able to get the antibiotics because of what he was describing and what he was coughing up and everything. I had to escalate numerous emails, phone calls, everything I have is documented up to the medical director at the facility that he's at. When she didn't do anything, then after that, I went to the CDOC director of the medical department over Colorado Department of Corrections in general. That's how bad it got, where you have to escalate things up that bad. It should not be that bad for somebody that had a common cold. Now, there are other issues where a gentleman also, a different inmate, had a documented illness and he had to go and petition the court in Colorado to have CDOC do their job and treat his illness. He won and CDOC was forced to provide the medical care that they are obligated to provide to the inmates in their custody. These are things like that that are happening all the time. CDOC themselves in the report, one of them that's listed below, also came forward and said, oh, we're having staffing shortages. One of the main areas is in the medical department is where we're having staffing issues. So much so to the point that inmates are not really going to be able to go ahead and get some of the treatment that they should be able to get to the point where it's going to be delayed or it's just going to go ahead and not be non-existent. They're not going to get the treatment. Oh, and by the way, can we have some more money? That's literally what CDOC was saying in their report. So there's that. They're just documented after documented after documented of CDOC dropping the ball when it comes to medical issues, them having to pay things to pay out for it, and then also them acknowledging, yeah, we have this issue, by the way, can we go ahead and get some more money? Like I said, it's just dozens and dozens of complaints that I have seen against them. The next thing is inmate safety. There are stories, links, cases, all of that below, where inmates are stabbed over 40 times. There's no safety and security at the facility. The COs there are supposed to be providing safety and security. They provided safety and security for the facility itself, not for the inmates. In other words, the facility is a safe and secure facility where you can't get in or out, but as far as what goes on in there, they're not providing safety and security inside. As a result, this particular inmate was stabbed over 40 times. It's a miracle that he survived. What happened with him? He won a lawsuit against CDOC for $1.1 million because of CDOC's CDOC was found liable for that. So there's that one. There's Bent County. I mean, do we even get into that one? That's been all over the news. 2 people were killed, a third one taken to the hospital. That's all I'll say on that one. It is still an ongoing investigation. There's information that comes out in bits and pieces, but I'm not going to get into that. Point being, safety and security. Inmates are dying all the time. This is not, unfortunately, this is not an isolated incident of CDOC abandoning oversight of the safety of the inmates. There was another inmate that worked in the CCI aspect. If you're not familiar with that, I'll get into that in another video. One of the other ones, CCI is a Colorado Corrections Industries. It's basically what runs the canteen service within CDOC. It is overseen by CDOC. That particular group, organization, company, whatever you want to call it, that oversees canteen, there was an inmate that was working and there was faulty equipment and he lost 2 fingers, so he was maimed. He won the lawsuit against CDOC for that. All of these things pile up. All of these things pile up. There's medical treatment, food. Oh my goodness, let's get into the food aspect. There was another gentleman that had, now mind you, there's been complaints, several documented complaints against CDOC for the food that they're serving is considered not edible for human consumption. It is full of bacteria, it's moldy, it's rotten, all of this kind of stuff. So much so to the point that there was another case of a gentleman that was force fed. He was forced to eat all of this crap, basically, that they're serving. And as a result, he had an extended and prolonged time with excessive diarrhea and vomiting for a prolonged period of time. Now, you know that causes dehydration. The water inside that facilities, you know that's crap water, so he's not able to recuperate himself. He also sued. On top of that, CDOC came forward in one of their supplemental report, their supplemental budget requests to the state. So they submitted a budget request and then they submitted another budget request saying, hey, we requested X amount, we also need more money. In that supplemental request, they came forward and they themselves said that CDOC has concerns regarding the food that they are serving to the inmates, to the people that are in their charge. Oh, by the way, can we have some more money? This stuff is documented. CDOC themselves said that they have concerns over the food that they are serving their own inmates. It's in the reports. Like, it blows my mind that they do this, and they I don't want to say they get away with it, because obviously they're not getting away with it. The more awareness that is out there, the less they're going to get away with. So that's why, I come forward with all this. The last little bit of info, and I do have to look at my notes on this one because I want to be very specific as far as what this is. There are several annual reports that CDOC came out with between 2021 and 2024. So 21, 22, 23, and 24. Each of those reports had a total, not individual, total conglomeration of over 213 inmates that died while they were in CDOC's custody. 213 inmates, okay, while they were in CDOC custody. Of those inmates, CDOC reports that 154 were a result of illness. We already got into the medical treatment issues. 20 of them were, have to be careful so YouTube doesn't censor me. 20 of them were people that took their own lives. 19 were drug related, 13 were homicide, 6 were accidental, and 11 were listed as unknown. How do you list a death as just unknown? How did they die? What was their cause of death? Unknown. Okay, well, there's only a few ways that can happen, and one of them could allegedly be some sort of cover-up, but that's all I'll say. There's my disclaimer of alleged. So anyway, point being is that all of this kind of comes together as to why, if you weren't aware, it's been all over the news, why as of end of 2025, the Department of Justice had to intervene because there had been so many civil rights violations, complaints against Colorado Department of Corrections regarding the treatment of inmates. The federal government now had to step in and open an investigation into how CDOC is treating their inmates. If that doesn't say anything at all, I don't know what does. When the federal government, and we all know how great the federal government is right now, if the federal government has to step in and intervene and say, hey, you're not treating people properly, and open an investigation, that says something. And that investigation is completely ongoing as well, because there's constantly more and more and more complaints that are coming against CDOC. So anyway, I tried to keep this one as short as possible. I'm sorry if I ran a little over, but this is all very pertinent information. Like I said, please, 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 please click on the links, familiarize yourself, become aware. The only way that this stuff is going to stop is awareness getting out. You need to be aware of what your loved ones are being subjected to. So please, please, please. Petitions linked below. If you haven't signed, please also please also sign that. This again is just describing more of the information that's specific information that's in the petition. You can sign it as a anonymous too if you don't want your name on there as well. Tons of people are doing that, and I get it. So anyway, thank you everybody so much for the love and support. Again, please share. Go ahead and hop over to Facebook. I'll be sending a little updates on there as well. I did a little earlier today too. So have a great one. I hope everybody's having a good day, and we'll catch you on the flip side.